Welcome back to Lock In Buffalo. We have an incredible episode in store for you. If you're a buyer or a seller looking to navigate the most competitive real estate market in the country right now, stay tuned to this episode and lock in. So we have two of the most recognizable names in the real estate industry here in Western New York, both from the lender side as well as from the realtor side. We have Enas Latif in the studio as well as Amanda Bernardini from CrossCountry Mortgage Buffalo. So thank you both for joining me on the podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yes. So it is my understanding that you both have developed a very efficient and effective working relationship to date. So Enas, from the realtor perspective, and you run an incredibly successful real estate team here in the Western New York market as well as in Florida. And Amanda, you are a top producing loan officer here at CrossCountry Mortgage. So you've been working together for some time now. How did that working relationship come together?
Oh, the real story?
The real story. We don't look for the polished stories here on Lock in Buffalo.
Well, long story short, I was planning an event, and I found Amanda at the time where she had a bake shop. And I wanted to order some things from Amanda. I walk in her shop, and she had the dog with her, baby on her arm. She's doing a mortgage on her laptop, and then was ready to take our baking order. And I was like, I like this girl. Like, she's a go-getter. And I started talking to her a little bit, and she's like, yeah, I do mortgages too. This is like, baking is like kind of like my side gig for now and whatnot. And I was like, oh, well, I'm Enas Latif, and I'd love to work with you and whatever. And she kind of brushed me off. I don't think she knew that we do a lot of business at that time. And she went back and focused on the baking stuff. And I was like, this bitch.
Yeah.
You brushed her off.
I did. I didn't really. Yeah. It was like I feel like I was more in ops at that time. So I didn't have my like sales hat on. Like, I really credit Enas for like getting me into that, like giving me the confidence to get into that like sales role, really.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did it take what did Enas do to help level up your desire?
Well, first of all, she's like the queen bee. Come on now. But I think she helped give me like step out of my own way and give me that confidence, like that little voice in the back of my head, in combination with, at the time, I was taking a risk with opening up the bakery, and going from like what was a salaried position to, uncertainty there. So I think like the combination of the two and the fact that she really did, take a chance on me was really helpful to get my sales career started.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I disagree with that, because I don't think Amanda gives herself enough credit, for a young mom to be so determined to do it all and do it well and do it with a smile and on top of it at the same time at all times. She already had all the elements to be successful. Maybe the only role we played is connecting with her on accident, really, for baking goods. But, being able to connect with her shortly after that for mortgages. And she helped us, helped our clients, provided amazing service. And it was just, I think, natural growth for you from there.
Yeah. I remember the first time that you guys, like, we hosted a meeting and you came into the bakery, and I was so nervous. I was like, because I like wasn't used to presenting, and I was like tripping over my words. I remember, like, I was like stumbling.
When was that? How long ago was that?
Long ago.
Oh,
before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was in 2018 or 19, something like that.
Okay.
But Amanda invited the team and I to the bakery, and I thought it was a great idea. Let the team meet her and maybe start a working relationship with her, because they're more client-facing than I am. And, of course, they're always up for free baked goods and coffee. And she made the most amazing Pop-Tarts that we all rave about till now. And just we sat down, had a very casual meeting, talked mortgages, and I think everybody on the team sort of immediately clicked with Amanda and started working together from there. Yeah.
So Anas, from your perspective, and maybe for some of the aspiring realtors that watch this podcast or listen to this podcast, in addition to the general public, from a realtor's perspective, what makes it so important to have a good working relationship with a qualified real or mortgage professional like
Mhm.
Amanda?
Yeah. Uh, First thing to me is communication, open communication and honesty, and good follow up, right? I need to know what's going on with my clients, with their files, all of that. But if there is a concern, if there is a problem, I like to be made aware of it. And I think that's important too, because maybe I can also help offer a solution or help resolve whatever the issue is or the problem, or maybe pivot a different way if needed.
Hmm.
But if we're left in the dark, then it's going to be very difficult to accomplish that. And then, sometimes you don't find out about something till the 10th hour, and now it's too late to try to rectify or pivot from there.
Right.
Yeah.
So this market being so incredibly competitive, I mean, I think it's pretty well understood now from everybody that lives in and around Western New York that this is one of the most competitive buyers markets
Mm-hmm.
in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what do you do with a client early on in the process to help them understand, number one, what they're really going to be in the market for, and
Mhm.
then where do you like to see Amanda step in from an early education process with a client?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think let's
Yeah.
take the perspective of somebody entering into the market, let's say for the first time.
Yeah, I think the biggest value add that we can have right now as lenders is helping create that trust. Because you're in a market where a lot of people are waiving inspections, people are bidding well over ask, and they might connect with a realtor and maybe all of a sudden the first time the house they're bidding on that they love, their realtor is advising them to bid on a house $80,000 over where it's listed and waive their home inspection in order to get it right.
Hmm.
So, one of the first conversations I have is, especially with people that are new to the market, is listen, the list price is the list price. It might be priced appropriately. It might be priced under where it should sell. It might be overpriced. That's why it's so important for you to listen to your real estate agent, and have people that know what they're doing pull the comparables to see where it's really going to sell, because not every real estate agent does that due diligence.
Mm.
They're not pulling comps, they're not seeing where it's priced. So I think it's important to have more than one voice telling the client that, so they know they're just not being spoon-fed information, right? It
Hmm.
creates that circle of trust. So I think that's really important right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I also love when our clients are able to reach back to Amanda and rerun certain numbers when they're trying to make that decision of making an offer and what offer to make. Because I think it also, yes, we do the comps and yes, we give them advice based on how competitive this particular listing is.
Hmm.
However, I want my clients to also be comfortable with the decision that they make and make sure that it's a good decision for them and it's not going to hurt them in the near or far future either.
Sure.
I do believe that when someone purchases a home, often it's the largest investment that they have. And it's very important that we both work on making sure to protect their investment during that process.
So
Agreed.
buying right.
Hmm.
And in this environment, with inventory still being so tight,
Hmm.
I think the recent numbers I saw for all of Erie County is like 934 active listings, just insane. Um, are you still seeing listing agents consistently list properties under what they believe they'll sell for to get that bidding war activity going on?
Yeah, there are agents that take different approaches with listings and listing prices, and also homeowners that would like to take different approaches, right? So it's not always the listing agent,
Yeah,
even though people like to point the fingers on the agent.
sure.
Um, but there's that high risk price, that moderate risk price, that low risk price that we have to discuss with our clients and what it could mean. Sometimes listing way below market value, though, in my opinion, could also leave money behind on the table.
Sure.
And listing above market value, or that sweet spot where it really should be listed to potentially interest the largest number of buyers and potentially result in multiple offers for the seller, could also hurt the seller and the bottom line. So it's always, to me, it's always about finding that sweet spot for the listing price, a marketing price that's going to be attractive for buyers, that where they see value in the description, in the photos, in the location at that price, and maybe create that competitive edge for the seller. But I think ultimately, I give all the options to the seller. I explain the different approaches, the pros and cons of different approaches, and then it's their decision.
How
Sure.
do you feel about escalation clauses?
I don't like to generalize if I like something or don't. I
Yeah.
think every situation, every listing, every seller's situation also could differ.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we really have to decide that on per listing basis.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes I have a seller where an escalation clause is not something that they can also mentally handle during the negotiation.
Right.
So I have to take that in consideration. And these are conversations I have with my sellers ahead of time.
Yeah. On that point, and thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Many people maybe watching don't really fully understand what an escalation clause is. So maybe
Very true.
provide a little context on that, and I'd love to spend a few minutes on this because I'm unfortunately very familiar with the escalation clause due to my buying process. So who wants to
Well,
take it?
I can tell you for my selling process, I opted for no escalations
Hmm.
because, in my opinion, I feel as a seller, you could be leaving money on the table for an escalation. So, an escalation clause is when, you basically put in an offer for a base price and you say, I'm willing to beat any other offer up to X amount, right? By a specified number, whether that's $5,000, $2,000, $10,000. So if my original offer is 300,000 as an example, but my top is 350 and somebody else comes in at 330 and I say I'll beat their offer by 5K, then my settlement is 335,000.
Hmm.
Okay. As a seller, my opinion is you could be leaving money on the table because if that person is willing to pay up to 350, why not just ask for their best and final? Because you could have gotten 350 for the house instead of 335, right?
Right.
So I don't know.
That's where I would have to disagree with you.
I know there's going to be a rebuttal on this one.
Yeah, only because that might be true for some buyers. But we also work with many buyers where I hands-on, have these conversations with these buyers where if it is highest and best, they're only going, to offer this much. But if an escalation clause is allowed, they're like, okay, well, we'll escalate to this much.
Interesting.
So sometimes a buyer is willing to escalate higher than they're willing to do their highest and best offer. And I think it's because in their mind, if someone else was willing to pay that price, then I'm willing to escalate over it. But every buyer is different too. Not all buyers are the same. But from my experience, often I have these conversations ahead of time with buyers on houses that they're interested in before we even know from the listing agent whether escalation clause is allowed or not. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about what the scenario would look like for your offer if escalation clauses are not allowed versus if they're allowed. And sometimes I'm very surprised by how much higher they're willing to go if escalations are allowed.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that process has to be I would imagine at times incredibly anxiety inducing and stressful for a buyer in that situation. I've been there. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking in the city of Buffalo for well over a year, put in, I think, 7 offers on different properties,
Mm-hmm.
multiple offers on 7 different properties. Um, Thankfully landed where I wanted to land, but um, that process is really, really anxiety inducing. What do you find is your best technique to kind of talk that client off the ledge? And when you're in that process or you're in that position where you're getting so anxious, sometimes as a buyer, maybe you're willing to go way over and make a decision that you probably will have some remorse about down the road. Like, how do you couch
Mm-hmm.
those difficult scenarios with your clients and advise them?
Mm-hmm. First of all, I love that for you because that is really humbling when you're in the industry and have to go through that yourself.
Yeah.
And it helps you really understand the other side of where the client is coming from. Sometimes, yeah. For me, I have these conversations with my buyers, from the initial buyer consultation. The first time we sit down, I'm having all these conversations with them, right? I'm reiterating some of this information, some of this information, and different scenarios on almost every house that we're seeing. So by the time they get to that point, they are very well prepared and know what to expect and know the pros and cons of everything. If this works, great. If this doesn't work, then we have to do this. They're prepared. And I think that's the most crucial piece here is making sure our buyers are well prepared for the challenges in today's market as soon as they start looking or
Yeah.
talk about looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that it would be perfect. They will still have their ups and downs, but maybe not as the peaks and valleys,
Hmm.
as extensive as maybe some other buyers who were not prepared
Sure.
for this market. And again, they have me and I assure them that to help guide them to make sure that, okay, if you're getting desperate and you really, want to go all in for this house, let's talk about, is it a good investment if you only stay 2 years? Is your plan staying long term? I mean, every buyer situation is different. So it may
Hmm.
not be a good investment for someone who knows that they will be relocating in 2 years and they may lose money when they come to sell in 2 years
Right.
versus someone who's like, oh, yeah, we're staying here forever,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes a difference what the buyer situation is.
Absolutely. And then I
Yeah.
would imagine on your end, when you're analyzing that situation and Anas is giving you that framework for what the client's particular situation is, that would guide and steer your decision making and the advice that you would provide the client.
Yeah,
If it's a short term
absolutely.
period, if it's a long term period, they plan on staying in that property.
Yeah, another thing that comes into play is the appraisal guarantee as well in this market and
Hmm.
Mhm.
the pros and cons of that. A lot of people don't realize, um, if they fall in love with a house and they just have to have it, they may be willing to pay for more than what the house appraises for, quote unquote. And some are surprised to find, and a lot of even agents don't realize this, that their financing really wouldn't change as a result of a lower value. So these are also conversations we have with people as well, depending on what their financial situation is as well. Putting that appraisal guarantee in.
Well, let's end this segment on the buyer by maybe both of you providing one most valuable thing that a buyer should do to get themselves prepared to enter this market.
Call me. No, really, connect with
Yeah.
a really good realtor
Yeah.
who's educated about the market and who's in tune with today's market, right? Because, I hate to say it, many realtors are not.
Hmm.
And if a realtor, forgive me again if I'm offending anyone, but if a realtor is only doing 2 or 3 deals a year, how much do they really know about this market and how the buyers are behaving and what it takes to secure a home? And is it a good investment or not? I mean, it's so intricate right now. It's so important to connect with a good realtor.
Mm.
I have to spin off that and say, one thing that really impresses me about Anas's team is even her, new team members. I mean, it's no secret the barrier of entry in this business is pretty low.
Mhm.
And we work with all sorts of agents, myself included. Like I work with so many different types. And what always impresses me, I guess it shocks me when I deal with realtors that don't know, simple things like how to structure a contract, how to explain different contract terms to their buyers. They're not having these conversations. They're not pulling comps. And one thing that always impresses me is every single person on her team is always extremely well-versed, knows exactly what's going on, knows exactly how to explain things to the client. I mean, I told her this the other day that like her newest addition, who's amazing and going to be great. Like we actually have a client on one of his listings and he was right up my butt about like being on deadlines. And I was like, a lot of other people that are new to this business would not even know to check on this. They wouldn't even know to check. It wouldn't even be all over it. And it's very impressive. And it's very important that you hire somebody that knows what they're doing and not your aunt's dentist's friend that does one deal a year. So doing your research and hiring the right people is really important.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank you for mentioning also that it doesn't end at offer being accepted. Managing the transaction is crucial. Managing it properly all the way to close is crucial. There's so many people involved, attorneys, the lender, of course, you guys, right? Appraiser, all kinds of different things that we need to make sure deadlines are met to not compromise the buyers or the client's position. And often that there's a lot of mistakes that happen during that process. Unfortunately, sometimes from the realtor and the whole deal could fold because of it, or someone could be sued because of it. So there's so much at stake to make sure of that as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Enas is a very accomplished team leader. What do you look for in your recruits and into your new additions of your team?
It's really the top three things for me is for an individual to have, to be humble, hungry, and smart, right? The skill you could definitely teach. To Amanda's point, we have our way of making sure all of our agents are well educated. We collaborate together. So as soon as they join our team, they're immediately thrown into this over 80 years of experience around the table that they're learning from constantly. So as long as they're humble, which then it fits my team's culture and also the way we service our clients, which is very important to me. That's how we built our reputation, and that's how we built our business here in the area. And, being humble. So there's a difference between someone having self-confidence and borderline cocky, right?
Sure.
I can't work with cocky, and I don't like, cocky person experience for my clients. And smart. Smart would be able to learn and be coachable and has to be hungry for the business, though, for sure.
That makes sense. I've read that you have a myriad of designations in the industry. So you're a graduate of the Real Estate Institute.
Yes.
You specialize in the senior marketplace. How important do you view continuing education?
It is very important because designations do matter in terms of where you rank, amongst your peers, I guess. But to me, you learn by doing.
Yeah.
And the best agents learn by watching other very good agents. So honestly, pairing up with a good mentor, or maybe if you're thinking about joining a team, a good team leader, where there are other team members also who are good at what they do, and you could really learn from everybody else who's doing it well.
Yeah. I think it's a unique opportunity having two incredibly intelligent individuals on either side of the equation for a buyer in particular. Amanda, again, from the financing side, and Enas from the realtor side. Where do you two see the market going in the next handful of years?
I do believe here locally that we will continue to have a very strong, active market. I believe that more people are seeking an area like our area that's a small, big city situation with, things to do and close proximity to Canada as well, maybe is attracting a lot of people as well. People who moved away for jobs or whatnot and are now starting families, they're moving back to be closer to families. So I truly believe it's going to continue to be a very strong market here in Buffalo.
So you're continuing to see a lot of demand. You're going to forecast demand from outside of the market,
Yeah.
making it an already low supply market have more increased demand. So you're, from what I'm taking, you're forecasting a continued seller's market.
Yes, in my opinion. We definitely have some sellers right now who are moving out of the area to downsize somewhere else, maybe warmer climate or closer to their kids who are starting to have families, right? But unless we have, unfortunate situations sometimes, right? Downsizing is definitely one of them. It's not unfortunate at all. But in terms of maybe a divorce or death or those types of situations, we're not really seeing many people selling just to upsize or selling just to downsize, especially when everybody, and Amanda will attest to that, refinance when interest rates were under 3%. I was one of those people, and my home may be a bit too large for me right now, but you know what? It's cheaper to stay there, so I'm not going anywhere. And I think a lot of sellers think the same way.
Totally.
So, so we will definitely have more demand than supply, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think from the?
I feel like Buffalo as a whole experiences low highs and low lows, So I agree with Enas. I think that we're going to maintain this type of market in years to come, especially with, young professionals staying here too. We have the colleges here as well. And they, I think Buffalo as a city is big enough where it feels like you're in somewhat of a city, but it's still affordable. Right. So I think it's going to take a while for us to kind of get out of that.
Any insights into where you think the 10-year treasury is going and how that's going to?
Well, nobody really knows. I don't like that because I don't like to predict the interest rates. I focus on affordability. To be honest with you, it's all about affordability because if you were to, the experts have been saying that the rates are going to go down for years now, right? And so eventually they probably will, but they're never going to get to a point where they're 2 or 3%.
Right.
So, to me, when I really don't, when I'm talking to clients, I do not focus on rate at all. I just focus on affordability. And that's, I think, what's the most important thing here.
That's got to be a pretty big transition, I would imagine, for a lot of clients' thought process. I think people come to the table focusing so much on interest rates.
Yeah, and we got to get away from that because really the biggest thing. People are trying to upsize right now, and they have spent time building this equity in their home, and they think, okay, I've built $150,000 of equity in this house, and I want to upsize, and now my mortgage payment, I should be able to have a similar mortgage payment because I've spent so much time building equity in this house. And they're surprised to find, oh, no, your mortgage payment's still going to double, maybe more if you want to upsize, even with you putting, this money down. So it's also not that we're financial advisors per se, but we also look at different things with them like, can you pay down? Some people have built up credit cards. Like, okay, if this feels uncomfortable, pay down this, this, and this, and then it's going to feel the same for you, right? So these are the conversations we have.
So in us, I've seen that you're very passionate about fair housing and anti-discrimination in the housing market in particular due to the nature of your business. How do you see discrimination take place within the real estate community?
So over the years, I've witnessed multiple different incidents myself witnessing or sometimes even be the receiver of that as well. And, maybe for so long I didn't know what to do about it or even what to think about it until I had the opportunity to join the Buffalo Niagara Association of Realtors committee to help fight discrimination in our marketplace. And discrimination can be between realtors. It could be between a client towards a realtor towards a client, and maybe a seller towards a buyer and vice versa. And that's what people don't realize. And there's a lot of it that goes on. There are some homeowners who, in today's world, as you know, we all have cameras in our homes and ring bells and whatnot. There are some homeowners that might feel differently about a certain type of buyer that might be walking through their home and feel a certain type of way about wanting to accept someone's offer just because potentially of their skin color or how they dress or something like that. And that's very unfortunate that it still happens in today's world, but it does. So my involvement right now is to help educate the realtor community itself, because sometimes I think people may discriminate not knowing that they are being, uh, discriminating against somebody. But also sometimes people just don't know, and they don't know that culture, or they don't know that language, or what's proper, what's not proper in someone else's culture, and that scares them.
Mm.
So when somebody doesn't know something, it might scare you from even wanting to approach it or be engaged in it. So I think educating the realtor community to start with, to begin with, and then moving on to educating, obviously, our community about the different cultures, different religions, different, experiences that people have, and embracing our differences. And that's what we're trying to do right now.
I find that sometimes from a lending perspective as well, that people from different cultures might have a harder time getting either financing or knowing programs. And I think it comes down to either just like what they do or also communication. So I found that meeting in person has been something that's like been very good for me when I see that communication barrier. And those people are so grateful that you sit down with them and actually take the time to face help them, because you actually get somewhere with it.
Yeah.
I had a girl in my office last week. She had gone to she'd called 3 different lenders. And by the time she got on the phone with me, she was like, I don't even want to talk to you on the phone. I want to come in. And we sat down and we pre-approved her.
Mm-hmm.
And she cried. She was so happy, So I think a lot of it is also just like communication as well. And I think being face-to-face, which in our environment isn't very common right now, is something that we all have to make an effort to do a little bit more as well.
I couldn't agree more. In particular with the revitalization efforts for the city of Buffalo, embracing different cultures, different communities, immigrants coming into this market to build businesses, to revitalize neighborhoods is, quite frankly, in my opinion, one of the largest driving factors in the revitalization effort for the city. So I think both of you are contributing to that, helping to build bridges and make that an effort that's going to hopefully come to fruition a lot quicker. So thank you both for that.
Thank you. Well, I'm an immigrant myself, so it's very dear to me.
Yeah.
And I was given this opportunity to grow in a whole new country and be able to accomplish what I have been able to accomplish. And during this process of my own growth, I was able to help many home buyers, homeowners, and many other realtors who grew with me on my team and became successful agents. And, I'm forever grateful for that. And if we can take the time to help others achieve something like this for themselves and for the community that we live in, we should definitely pay attention to that.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, that's what makes Buffalo the great community that it is.
Mhm.
And like any other community, I think we have efforts that we can take to advance that. But I think our community is more apt to take those steps than a lot of others. So great stuff. Well, we are at the point of the show where we like to play a little game with our guests
Uh-oh.
called the Wheel of Buffalo. We're going to ask our producer, Bella, to hand over the Wheel of
I'm not
Buffalo.
good at games.
It's a simple game. It's a very
You'll be
simple game.
surprised.
So we'll spin the wheel, and I think what we'll do, Bella, if you agree, I think what we'll do is we'll spin the wheel for both Enas and Amanda and have them both answer a question unprepared on each topic
As
that
long
we
as
land
Amanda
on.
goes first.
Okay, Amanda, you're going to go first. And Amanda, what did we land on?
Future bet.
All right. Well, you didn't want to bet on interest rates or speculate on where the interest rates are going to go, but give us a
Does it
general.
have to be something
It could
real
be
estate
anything
related?
you want. Any future bet that you want to go on the record right here on Lock in Buffalo and
Okay.
lock in your future bet.
How much money do we have on this?
Yeah.
You want to bet?
Yeah, make it interesting.
All right.
My future bet is Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl.
Oh my God. On
And the new
the
stadium.
record. Lock
the new
it in.
stadium.
Clock it. Lock it.
That was
Go
a
Bills.
cop-out.
Bills Super Bowl. Enas.
Oh, gosh.
The Wheel of Buffalo.
I don't know why I'm nervous all of a sudden. Jesus, I'm not
Dude,
good at playing games.
I'm
You're
gonna think Buffalo gets right.
Oh, thing Buffalo gets right. What do Buffalonians as a whole or in general get right?
Enjoying the summer.
There we go.
That's
know?
a good one.
I like that.
That is a good
we
one.
We in Buffalo know how to maximize every day in the summertime.
You get about a 3-week window of time.
All the festivals, all the events, all the concerts, the Outer Harbor, the Canal Side, just so much going on, so much to do. Hoyt Lake, Shakespeare in the Park.
What's your favorite number one thing to do? If you're only in Buffalo for a weekend in the summer, what would you do?
I'm an outdoors person, so anything outdoors is fun to me. Just to be able to walk in even Canal Side and grab ice cream near the water, people watch, it's fun to me. That would be the thing I would do.
Oh, you heard it here first. All right. Well, you heard it here from Amanda Bernardini and Enas Latif. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to Lock in Buffalo. Amanda, thank you. And Enas, thank you. I hope you'll join us again sometime soon. We appreciate all the insight. And good luck out there in this wild Buffalo real estate market. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. We are Lock in Buffalo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This was fun.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is a good one.